So non-verbal communication and importance of non-verbal communication in public speaking is the thing that we are going to study today, right? So what do we mean by non-verbal communication? You might have studied communication somewhere, right? There are two types of communications, verbal communication and non-verbal communication. In verbal communication, words are used, either spoken communication, spoken words or written words. Nowadays I am speaking, so I am using words, spoken words I am using. So this communication is called as verbal communication. And non-verbal communication is a communication in which no words are used. Words are not used in non-verbal communication, right? So what is used in non-verbal communication? In non-verbal communication, facial expressions are used. So we can communicate without using words by using expressions on our face. For example, we can express happiness on our face, we can express anger on our face, we can express dislike on our face, we can express surprise on our face, isn't it? There are a number of things which we can express using facial expressions, right? So signaling with eyes also are used in order to communicate. Signals through eyes can be given in order to communicate. No? You know, when we close one eye only and one eye is open, we convey some kind of meaning, right? Postures of body. So how we sit, how we stand while speaking, that is called as posture of a body. Standing or sitting position is called as posture of body. So if you are speaking in front of a people, a large number of people, and if you are not standing erect, if you are not standing straight, then it gives negative signals. Gestures such as one's hand to politely invite someone to speak. So gestures also are used in non-verbal kind of communication. Gestures, hav-bhav, are used in non-verbal communication. So gestures are basically generally made by hands. So we can invite somebody, we can ask somebody to go, we can wave hand to say goodbye, right? We can say namaskar, we can clap our hands. So every movement that we make with our hand is used as non-verbal communication. We communicate without using words, isn't it? If somebody sings a song, suppose your friend is singing a song and you are clapping your hands. What is the message that your friend will receive? That he is being appraised. You are praising him for good voice, good singing, right? So tone and pitch of voice. Tone and pitch of voice also is a kind of non-verbal communication. Whether you are shouting, whether you are speaking loudly, or whether you are speaking slowly or fast, refers to tone and pitch of voice, right? Spatial distance between people. Spatial distance between people also is a non-verbal kind of communication. Spatial distance simply means antar. Vakta आणि श्रोता, speaker and listener च्या मधलं distance. Whether you are going too close to the listener to speak or whether you are maintaining distance. Nowadays, social distance has become a very common phrase. Social distance because of coronavirus, isn't it? So spatial distance between people also is one of the types of non-verbal communication. How distance is type of non-verbal communication? For example, if you are going too close to the listener and if you are speaking, putting your hand on the shoulder of the listener. If you are speaking to that person, it means that you are affectionately, lovingly speaking to him. You are trying to tell him something. And if you are maintaining distance, it means that you are indifferent. No, you are doing your duty only, right? So your body language is as important as the words that use. Non-verbal communication is as important as the words that are used. Sometimes non-verbal communication, or which we call as body language, becomes more important than the words, isn't it? Because body gives a number of messages while you speak in front of the public. It is said that if you are a public speaker, before you start speaking, people start speculating about you. People start making guesses about you before you start speaking. So how it is possible that they start judging you before you start speaking? Because they observe your body language, how you walk, how you look at them, how you stand, how you start speaking, what are the expressions on your face, whether your expressions are happy or whether you are nervous before speaking. So people always observe a public speaker. They observe the body language. So therefore, body language is as important as the language, words that you are using, right? So when you make use of your eyes, your head, facial expression and posture of sitting, if you are speaking while you are sitting, or if you are standing while you are sitting, how is your posture? No, what is the position that which you are sitting, or if you are standing? So it, a kind of, it supports your speech, it gives more meaning, it enhances your communication, right? So we will go through these types of non-verbal communication one by one. First is body language. So your body language should neither be too aggressive nor too submissive. So while you start speaking, you should not start shouting. You should not make aggressive kind of hand gestures like this. Some people have ability to raise the finger and being aggressive, shouting. So you should not be too aggressive. Akramak nako hai jast. Or too submissive also is not necessary. So you should have to maintain the balance between being submissive and being aggressive. You should maintain the balance. So you should be as natural as possible while speaking in front of the people. Yeah. It should be confident and at ease. So when you are speaking in front of the people, your confidence should be reflected on your face, and you should be at ease. Simply means you should be comfortable, right? You are not expected to stand stiffly and look grim. If you go in front of the people and if you stand like statue, that is standing stiffly. If you stand like statue without making any movement, and if the expressions on your face are very serious expressions, audience will get a negative impact. So what is necessary? There should be a little smile on your face. You have to move a little from here and there, a little. Otherwise you will start going to that corner, to this corner to that corner. This is also not expectable. Move a little where you are standing, have a pleasant smile on your face, and speak in a normal tone of voice. Don't shout. Speak, use your normal tone. Isn't it? Not necessary that you should shout when you are on the stage. Don't sit down when you are presenting. When you are presenting something on a blackboard, or when you are presenting something on the screen projector, you don't sit down in the chair. You stand in front of the screen and you face the audience. When you are explaining something on the screen, it is not good that you keep on looking at the screen all the times. So what you are expected to do is, while you are giving a speech, using PowerPoint presentation, for example, for some time you can look at the screen, but for maximum time, your face should be towards the audience, isn't it? And you have to look at the various sections of the audience, because if the hall is big one, you cannot simply limit your view on the first 4-5 benches. What will happen if you keep on looking one or two rows in the audience? Others will feel that the person is not paying attention to us. So as a public speaker, what you can do is you look at the first benches for some time, then you have a look at the last benches, this corner of the hall, that corner of the hall, so that people will feel that the speaker is looking at us also, and people will feel interested. They will feel attentive. They will be attentive, right? So facing the audience, looking at various section of the audience, and smoothly turning from one section of the stage from another section is also necessary, right? So you are not expected to go too close to the audience, or it is not even natural to maintain a great distance, a long distance. Don't go too much to the audience, too close to the audience, because if you go too close, the audience also might feel uncomfortable. If you are going too close to a person in the audience, that person might feel embarrassed. That person might feel nervous, right? So you should not stop even on one spot like a statue. Statue sarka uba rahayacha nahi. You have to move here and there, but naturally, right? So when you move, there should be a reason to move. If you want to write something on the blackboard, you can move there up to the blackboard, or when you want to give handouts, some papers, or if you want to talk to a particular person, you can move within or among the audience also. So your every movement when you are speaking as a public speaker, your each and every movement should be as natural as possible, right? Sometimes it so happens that you are giving a PowerPoint presentation and you are standing in front of the screen, so that audience could not see what is there on the screen. So they have to look from this side of you or from that side, isn't it? So it will be a kind of this kind of exercise for the audience. So keep in your mind, when you are giving presentation, you should not block the screen. Screen should be visible to each and every person in the audience, isn't it? So blocking the audience or blocking the white chart, whiteboard or blackboard creates a kind of obstacle in your presentation, right? Then make eye contact with several members of the audience. Otherwise, what happens? We get locked up with a particular person in the audience. It is possible because we are human beings, and if you are giving a speech in front of an audience, it is possible that you notice a particular face, attentive face, maybe, and you get locked to that face. You give your presentation looking at that person only. It is possible. Unknowingly it happens, spontaneously it happens. You don't have any intention also. As a speaker doesn't have any intention to look at one particular person, but unconsciously it happens. So you have to be conscious that while you are speaking to a large number of people, you have to maintain eye contact with all the members in the audience if it is possible, or at least to the sections of the audience, this corner, that corner, this part of the audience, that part of the audience. You have to move your eyes so that everybody will feel interested. Do not address only one person, or do not stare at them. Do not stare. Staring, do not stare at any person. So keep your eyes moving on the audience. Then while making presentation, do not use your hands excessively, isn't it? because some people have this habit, as I have told you before some time, using hands excessively while speaking. So what does happen? What happens when somebody uses hands excessively? Instead of the words of the person, people start paying attention to the gestures, hand movements, and it becomes a kind of distraction for the people. So hand movements should be very limited. Hand movement should be with intention, right? The second part is while actually giving presentation is delivery, right? So what we are expected to keep in our mind when we are giving a public speech, while we are actually delivering a public speech, right? So suit your pitch and volume to the size of the room and number of people. If you are speaking to 10 people, pitch of your voice can be low. You are not necessary. It is not necessary for you to shout at 2-3 people or 10 people. You can speak in a low voice if there are less than 10 people in the audience, less than 10 persons in the audience. But if the number of audience is large, for example, if there are 100 persons in your audience and the hall also is big, then you have to adjust your volume. You have to raise your volume, right? So that each and every person in the audience would listen to your speech. Otherwise, what happens? We start speaking in a low voice when there is a big audience, and we start shouting when there are 2 people only sitting in front of us. So that should not happen. We have to see the number of audience, the size of the room before we actually start speaking, so that we can adjust the pitch of our voice and the volume of our voice we can adjust, right? The second thing is pauses between the slides are very much necessary. When you are giving a PowerPoint presentation, you have to give time to the audience to think, right? So when one point is over, you have to give time to the audience by taking a slight pause to understand what was there in the slide. So taking pauses between the slides or taking pauses after some time is an essential aspect of public speaking. Then reading the non-verbal signs of audience and responding appropriately also is essential while giving public speech. Reading the non-verbal signs of audience means what? Reading the facial expressions of the audience. Isn't it? We can read faces. Faces speak a lot. If you are giving a presentation and if the audience are interested in your presentation, that can be seen on the faces of the audience. And if audience do not like your presentation, that also gets reflected on their faces. Or if somebody has not understood what you are saying, you can look at the face of that particular person and you get a signal that this person has confusion, because confusion gets reflected on the face with frowns and all those things. Frowns on the forehead, kapalavar आठ्या असतील एखाद्याच्या. Then we understand that the person is confused. He might not have understood. So you can repeat the point, right? So while you deliver your speech, it is necessary that you allot some time for questions to be asked by the audience. Most of the times, public speakers give some time at the end. 5 to 10 minutes are given to the audience to ask questions, right? So that is a very best practice done by the public speakers. And when the questions are asked by the audience, it is necessary that you try to answer the question sincerely. If you don't know answers to a particular question, be frank. Say that I will get information and then I will come back to you. Right? It is not always necessary that you should give answer to each and every question. You can skip certain questions also, but that also you have to do sincerely, by being frank, by telling your audience that I don't know much about this. You can say, but you cannot say how you can ask this question to me. You cannot say, you should not say actually. You have to try to answer all the questions by the audience, and while answering the questions your language should be polite, because if questions are asked, sometimes it is possible that we feel hurt. We feel hurt if the questions are asked, but we should maintain our balance, mental balance, and we have to give polite responses to the audience, right? So these are the two things that are important: body language we have seen, and delivery, that is actual delivery of the speech, actual giving speech standing on stage in front of the audience. So these are the important things that we are expected to understand. The next point is essential elements of making speech. So what are the things that we are expected to keep in our mind before we actually decide of making speech in front of the public? So first element of public speech is preparation, right? So without preparation, nothing can be done. We have to prepare before we put any or every step in our life. Preparation is as important as that. So there are some public speeches that are called extempore also, which do not need preparation. But still, extempore speeches are based on our reading, our experience, isn't it? So unconscious preparation is always there. एक्सटेम्पोर माहिती आहे ना, त्याला आपण वक्तृत्व स्पर्धेमध्ये जाणाऱ्या मुलांना माहिती असेल, एक्सटेम्पोर स्पीच असते. म्हणजे मराठीमध्ये आपण त्याला म्हणतो की असं एकदम अचानक दिलं जाणारं स्पीच, उत्स्फूर्त म्हणतो त्याला, उत्स्फूर्त स्पीच. त्याच्यासाठी यू गेट 5 minutes ऑफ टाइम अँड देन यू हॅव टू स्पीक. But the public speaking that we are studying here needs preparation. So what are the things that we can do while we prepare for a good public speech? So what do we do? First thing that we need to follow while we prepare is write down the main points. Actually, preparation of a public speech starts with the topic of the speech. So once we have decided the topic, or if the topic is given by somebody else, as most of the times it is done, that topic is given to the speaker and speaker is expected to speak on that topic. Or sometimes it is possible that speaker has the freedom to choose the topic, right? So once you choose the topic, once you decide the topic, the first thing that you need to do is write down the main points. So writing down the main points on a piece of paper or in a notebook, so that you can use those points in order to prepare the draft of your speech. So when you come with main points, you can extend those points and you can prepare the first draft, which is called as a rough draft of your speech. Once you create the rough draft, you can read that draft and you can make the changes that are necessary before you finalize your speech. So that is the first step. You can even draft the outline of your speech. So what does the outline of the speech consist of? It consists the main points in sequence, in a logical sequence, logical order. So what is the first point that I am going to speak? What is the second point? What is the third, fourth, and what is the conclusion that I am going to put at the end of my speech? So that should be prepared on a piece of paper. You might have seen a number of public speakers who come with a piece of paper in their hand, and they place the piece of paper on the dais, on the table, and they start speaking. So when one point is over, they just look at the piece of paper very naturally, and they start with their presentation very naturally. So making outline of the presentation also is very important. Second important point while preparing the speech is focus on the audience, right? So before you prepare the speech, you have to think of what type of audience you are going to face there, for whom you are preparing the presentation. What is the socio-cultural background of the audience? What is the social background of the audience you have to think? What is the cultural background of the audience you have to think? You have to think of the educational background of the audience also. So which society, whether the audience belongs to middle class society or lower class society, or the audience belongs to higher class society, ज्याला आपण high class society म्हणतो, well educated people आहेत audience मध्ये, or uneducated or highly educated people. We have to think about that, and we have to prepare our speech in order to match the expectations of this audience. If we don't know who the audience are, we cannot prepare our speech properly, isn't it? If you prepare your presentation in good English, and if your audience is not well educated, you will not be able to give a good presentation, because audience will not understand your presentation if they are not well educated. So before you prepare your presentation, you have to think whether your audience is educated. You have to think of the age of your audience also, whether they are children, whether they are youngsters, whether they are old people, so that you can prepare your presentation in order to match your audience. If you are expected to give presentation or speech in front of the children, you have to make your speech simple. You have to keep your speech simple, isn't it? If you are going to give a speech in front of youngsters, then you have to prepare your speech to match the expectations of the youngsters, right? So you have to focus on the audience before you actually start speaking, while you are preparing for the presentation. The third thing that is important is focus on the occasion also, right? So as audience is important, occasion is as important as audience. Occasion, prasanga, the reason why you are preparing the speech, context of the speech, that is background in which you are going to speak. For example, if you are invited to speak in front of the final year students in their send-off function, what kind of speech, what kind of points you are going to include your presentation, you have to decide. You can think on it. If you know the occasion, that the occasion is send-off function, or if the occasion is welcome function, then you can have some different points. If the occasion is inauguration of certain competition, then you can have different points. So you have to focus on the occasion also before you actually start giving presentation, right? Next thing is use of resources. So there are a number of resources that we can use in order to make our presentation good. So what are the resources? Resources are books from which we collect the data, or we can collect information from online resources like YouTube videos we can watch on the particular topic. We can search information on internet in order to make our speech a good one, isn't it? In order to make our speech authentic, we can give references of the books, isn't it? And even we can use audio visual aids like PowerPoint presentation we can use, so that audience feel interested in your speech, right? So audio visual aids, then resources like websites, online videos, books,